everybody, and welcome to Stitches and Prayers. My name is Pam. I will be your host today. We have 3 works in progress, 1 I've never even talked to you about, and 4 works in progress, 1 I've never even talked to you about. So let's get started. So for our finished objects, one of them is my blanket lovey and a little pair of shoes that I made for my husband's friend. I was making the blanket the last time we talked. I've already given those to him, so I recorded a little video. Let's see that now. Hello, everybody. It is Pam from the past. I did finish the blanket. I'm going to unfold it. I guess I will. So it's twice as long as this. I don't know exactly how long it is. I measured it. It's a good throw size, I want to say. Like from my waist, probably about 3-ish feet long. The pattern I used for the blanket is, I'm looking at my notes, from Daisy Farms, and it's the crochet chevron blanket. In one of her blog posts, this lady had created these patterns with different, where she used different yarns and different colors and everything. And I went with this one that she used. It starts off with 6 white at the beginning, and then it went into 2 gold, 2 royal, 2 gold, 10 royal, 2 gold, 2 white, 6 navy, and 2 white. It is the St. Louis Blues colors. My friend, his son, and him are my husband's friend. They are very big St. Louis Blues fans. So we went with the blues colors, which are the white, royal blue, navy blue, and gold. So that's what I used in Red Heart. The gold is saffron, and then the other colors are self-explanatory. I used a 5mm hook. I'm trying to think. I did 4 repeats of that pattern. So I did the 6 white to start the pattern off, and then I went into 2 gold, 10 royal, 2 gold, 2 white, 6 navy, 2 white. And I did that repeat 4 times, and then I ended with 6 white at the top to finish off the blanket. So that is the blanket. Then I had so much left over because it didn't take as much yarn as I thought it was going to take, because I bought, let me think, I bought 2 royal, 2 of the saffron or the gold, and then I bought 1 of the big 14 ounce of the white and 1 of the big 14 ounce of the royal navy. And I had a lot left over. So I decided to make them a Bluey lovey. So Bluey is the Blues mascot, and it's a bear. And he does have a light blue head. I investigated. I don't know why they went with light blue when light blue is not one of their colors, but who am I? And so then I started off with the white here in the center, and then I did 2 gold. And I did, hold on, I'll tell you. Did 2 gold, 8 royal, and then 2 gold, 2 white. I tried sticking with the same pattern. So I did the white and then the gold, 8 royal, 2 more gold, 2 more white, and ended with 6 of the navy blue. And I did it in a star. Let me hold it up this way. It's an 8-pointed star. The pattern I used for that is DK 8-point round ripple baby blanket. You can find that on Ravelry. That was what I did for the lovey. I used a 5mm hook, and it took me like a day. About a day and a half to make the whole thing. I still had a lot left over, so I decided to make some little Converse shoes for them. Also in the St. Louis Blues colors. So I started with the white and then I used the navy instead of a black for the stripe. And then I used royal for the shoe part, and then I used the gold for the tongue. And the pattern I used for that is called Baby Converse by Mariwa. Another pattern you can find on Ravelry. So that is about the extent. The blanket, the big blanket, is all in single crochet, and the lovey is in half double crochet. Back to the present. All right, guys. So yes, I already gave that to my husband's friend and his wife, and they absolutely loved it. So can't wait for baby to get here. The next one is, I found out that one of my people I know at work is also expecting a baby, and they're having a baby boy. So I went ahead and I didn't cast on, but I crocheted up a granny square blanket. I made this out of Lion brand. It's called Ice Cream Roving Divigation. And it's in the colorway Razzles. This is some yarn that my sister gave me. She gave me like 5 or 6 skeins of this. I don't know where she got it at. I'm sure she got it on sale or clearanced out, because that's my sister rolls. But yeah, so that's what I made it out of. The granny square blanket is out of 1 full skein, and then I used another full skein to make a little lovey. It's also a granny square. And then I put a little bear head on it, so that he's got something to hold on to. So that will be going to my friend at work this week. Just finished that up the other day. So another of what I have is I've got a blanket finished for Project Marvin. And I mean, these are just, they're all scrappy little lap throws to go on at the nursing home, put over their legs so that they stay nice and warm. I have little labels that I believe I've showed them to you guys before. I still need to put that on him. The little label, because as I've said before, Project Marvin is for my grandfather, Marvin Pace, who passed away a year ago. So I had these made to put on the little blankets that I make for my grandmother in his honor. But that is the extent of my finished objects. So let's see what I've been working on. So seems how I got rid of one. I finished one off. Of course, I've got another one on the hook that I've been working on. They're all scrappy. I can never decide like what colors to do, or what pattern to do in a single. And this is just so much easier. This is something that I can sit there and I don't have to pay attention. I've been crocheting for so long, I can just sit there and I can watch a TV show, I can watch a movie, and it is so mindless to just do. So I'm making this in half double crochet. I'm using a 5mm needle. I've got these balls that I'm using, and like I've tied knots to attach the 2 colors together, and then I'll crochet over top of it and weave in my ends. But it's just like this big old magic ball, and there's all kinds of colors in there. Like the next one is green, and then There's a blue, and then there's a variegated one in there. So just whenever I have a small piece, something similar to like this. This was what was left of the skein I did for the lovey. It'll go into one of the blankets. It's not really enough to make a project out of, so I call them scraps, and they will go into my scrappy blankets. So that's that one. Then the last time we talked, I was talking about how I was going to knit a sweater from Andrea Mowry. I watch her podcast, and she was wearing her stripes sweater, and instead of buying another pattern, I'm using her DRK Everyday Sweater to make a stripes version. The last time I had gotten almost down to the sleeve split, and when I put it on, because it starts, you cast on for the ribbing around the neck and you go from there out. So there was like no structure here to hold the neck tighter. So when I put it on, like the neck was way out here and the ribbing, and then it started to go into the sweater around about here. And I'm like, that's way too wide. So I took it all the way apart, and I decided to cast on and go straight into the stripes, and then I'll go back and pick up for the ribbing later, because that won't, it's going to be as stretchy as the ribbing. There'll be a little bit of a structure there. So this is as far as I've gotten. So this is the top here going down. This is all Red Heart yarn, and these are larger scraps that I can make projects with, just not, I don't know. But I don't have any ball bands. I know this is like wine. It's coming across more red than it actually is. It's more of a burgundy. This is more of a true color than when I put it up closer. So this one's like a burgundy. And there's this one that's a darker rose. I want to say it's like dark rose. And then I have all kinds of other colors in here. There's the lighter rose right there, and light sage, and I don't know, cream and brown. So that's what I've been working on as well. I've only done like the short rows, and then I just started doing some more of the increases for the yoke. So that is for the March to May. And I just finished casting it on the other day, so maybe I'll get it finished before the end of May. Your guess is as good as mine. The next one that I've got going is the Diggory Tee. I've showed this to you guys before. It is a pattern by Devin Venturi of McPurley Knits. When I did it, when I showed you the last time, and I'm in the middle of a row, which I should have finished off the row before I started this, and I didn't pay attention. I was pretty far in this red color, but I didn't like the way that it was working. What I had done was, instead of, because you're working the front and the back pieces flat after you get to this armhole split. So you knit and then you purl and you knit and you purl. So instead of knitting and purling, I was just knitting every row, and it gave it some texture here, but I didn't like it, and so I took it all the way apart. I took it out. So it goes. So I went all the way back and redone all of this piece. This red right here is called Old Barn. The bottom is called Cucumber. I got that from Knit Crate. I had 2 skeins of both. this is what I have left of the Red Barn. That's it. So I'm hoping, I've got this little nugget that's attached to it. I'm getting ready to go into the shoulder shaping so that it, you know, the neck isn't way up here. It's kind of down here, and you do little bits here for the shoulder shaping. So I'm getting ready to go into that whenever I pick that back up. I haven't worked on that in a while. I want it. I want it really bad, but I don't know. I'm very about it. Then, if you follow me on Instagram, which please do, I had a sweater that I made, and it was called the Slouchy. I will link it down below. The patterns that I commented or talked about, I will put down below. I believe it was called the Slouchy sweater. I left my notes. I don't have my notes with me. And when I made this was one of the first things that I made. It's a cardigan. And when I made it, the pattern exactly. And I liked it, but when I wore it, it was like here. It wasn't long enough. So because it wasn't long enough and it didn't have pockets, I didn't wear it very often. But I love it, so I wanted to wear it more often. So I got brave. I'm going to show you how brave I was here. My sweater is in 2 pieces. So what I did was, and I can show here of right as I'm getting ready to do it. I took and at this brown stripe, I picked up all of the stitches that were on the brown stripe. Well, I had one row of brown up above it. So I went down one row and picked up all of those stitches. And then I knit all of this sage green and all the royal blue. And then I added pockets. And I made them pink on the inside. That is like hot pink. Hot pink. I'm loving it. Because it's so scrappy. It's just, yeah. So that's the bottom part. And I added on, I want to say when I measured it, it was like 3.5 or 4 inches that I added on. But I picked up, the second row in of the brown. Then I took on the top part and I picked up the first row of the orange. Or if you go by the red heart color, it's carrot. And so they're on my needles. And then I went into, so there was the row I picked up here, the row I picked up here, and there was a row in between, and I picked up in that row and I cut it with my scissors. And then I unwound the yarn out of there so that it went to 2 pieces. I added on the green and the blue, and I'm pretty sure that that's long enough. And now all I have to do is graft them together. And I'm just going to, I've got a big long piece of the blue here, and I'm going to put on a needle, and I'm going to Kitchener stitch them together, which a Kitchener stitch will make it, the way that you work a Kitchener stitch, if you don't know what that is like using a needle to make knit stitches. So you go in and back up and around and down, and you weave in stitches so that it looks like it's not been cut. You do it a lot on socks. When you make socks, when you knit the socks and you sew up the toe at the end, you usually use a Kitchener stitch. There are some other grafting methods, but the Kitchener is the one that I know. So that's the one I'm going to be using. So I'm really hoping that I did it long enough, because it's going to take me probably an hour to an hour and a half to Kitchener stitch all the way across. because if I remember right, it's like 300 stitches across. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get that done soon, but I could have gotten that done today, but I wanted you guys to see it in 2 pieces so I could talk to you guys about it. So if I get it, I'll have it done by the next podcast, and I'll wear it there. So if you guys are only here for the knitting, I would like to tell you goodbye. You guys, I will see you next time. Please like, subscribe to the video, follow me on Instagram, all the fun things, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. But for those of you who stick around for the prayers portion, let's get into it. All right, guys. So, going with what I did on the last podcast. So, the last podcast would have been my Easter, where we talked about Shadrach. Oh, I can't remember his name. But he did the poem that I read last week. I should have remembered. I had his name, and it just slipped my mind. But we read that poem about Do You Know My Jesus? So this week I went with the hymn out of my book, Then Sings My Soul, 300 hymns. And we are going to talk about the hymn, I'd Rather Have Jesus. George Beverly Shea, America's beloved gospel singer, has traveled with the Billy Graham evangelistic team since 1946. He was born in 1909 in Winchester, Ontario, where his dad served as pastor of the Wesleyan Methodist Church. Bev's mother, the church organist, had a piano that came from England, and seated in front of its keys, she became a sort of human alarm clock for the family. Every weekday morning, striking an E-flat chord, she would sing Eliza Hewitt's old song, singing I go along life's road, praising the Lord, singing I go along life's road, for Jesus has lifted my load. On Sundays, she chose a different selection, Isaac Watts' hymn, Lord, in the morning thou shalt hear my voice ascending high. To thee I direct my prayer, to thee up mine eye. When Bev was 21, he began working for the Mutual Insurance Company of New York, assisting medical examiners and obtaining information relating to the applicant's health history. Among those who came into the office was Fred Allen, host of a coast-to-coast radio talent show. Learning that Bev liked to sing, Mr. Allen arranged an audition, and a few weeks later, Bev found himself singing Go Down Moses to a nationwide audience in the National Broadcasting Company. Though he lost the contest to a yodelit, he received $15 and a taste of widespread fame. One Sunday, shortly afterward, Bev sat down at his mother's organ to practice for the morning church service. His eyes fell on a clipping she had left for him there, a poem written in 1922 by Miss Rhea E. Miller. As Bev read the words, they spoke to him about his own aims and ambitions in life. An appropriate melody came easily, practically composing itself. When Bev's mother came into the kitchen, he played the song and sang it for her. Wrapping both arms around him, she placed a wet cheek against his. In church that morning, Bev sang, I'd Rather Have Jesus publicly for the first time. It later became a sort of signature song expressing his own decisions in life. I'd rather have Jesus than men's applause. I'd rather be faithful to his dear cause. I'd rather have Jesus than worldwide fame. I'd rather be true to his holy name. So let's go ahead and read the three chorus, the three verses of I'd Rather Have Jesus. I'd rather have Jesus than silver or gold. I'd rather be his than have riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than houses or lands. I'd rather be led by his nail-pierced hand. I'd rather have Jesus than men's applause. I'd rather be faithful to his dear cause. I'd rather have Jesus than worldwide fame. I'd rather be true to his holy name. He's fairer than lilies of rarest bloom. He's sweeter than honey from out of the comb. He's all that my hungering spirit needs. I'd rather have Jesus and let him lead than to be the king of a vast domain or be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today. I hope you would rather have Jesus than anything else. Father, thank you for the time that you've allowed us to come together to talk about the knitting and to talk about you and your son. Please be with all of those who are listening. Please be with those who chose not to, and that next time they will stay and they will listen, and that this little piece that I do for you will plant a seed that someone else will water, that one day will grow, so that they can come to know you as their Lord and Savior. Thank you for the day that you've given us. Amen. And until next time, remember this world is not our home and we're just a passing through. Bye, guys.